So, Adam, are there any exercises that you do on a regular basis to kind of work on maintenance and keep your body moving properly? Well, yeah, there are actually. I get asked that a lot. What do I do? And a lot of my mobility work tends to focus around like trunk, so onto like lower back and into legs. So I thought let's do a quick video on what I do on the regular. And all you're going to need for this one is a tennis ball. Okay, so if you've got one of those lying around, go and grab it. In the meantime, if you get the chance to, just hit that subscribe button. That'll always tell you whenever I'm putting new videos out. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like, just let us know, hey, do you like the videos? What do you see? What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? In the meantime though, go and grab that ball. I'll see you in a second. Jolly marvellous, everybody. It is lovely to see you all again. And like I was saying in the intro there, I do have a bit of a routine of things that I tend to do on a daily basis to keep me moving properly and to keep pain away, especially if I've done a long journey in the car, done a lot of driving, that kind of thing. So tennis ball is all you're going to need for this. But what we're going to start off with first is working on your gluteals in your bottom. Now this is a real favourite of mine. This is an absolute winner. I love this. Basically, if you actually come to any of my classes, you may end up punching me after doing this. But this is well, I'm not even going to say any more. It's just you're gonna love it. So I'm going to put a clock, set a timer on here. We're going to go for 2 minutes each side. So we're going to do a bit more than maybe we normally would. Basically, your glutes are in your bum. And we're going to pop the ball underneath one side. So I've got that on my right side. My right leg is flat, my left leg is bent. And basically what we're going to try and do here is maneuver around through your bottom there and see if we can find anywhere that feels particularly sore. You may find it's easier to try and just find anywhere that's not sore. You might find like, oh my goodness, I am really, really stiff. And basically what we're doing here is rummaging around, seeing if we've got any junk in the trunk. And if we do find anywhere that is particularly nasty and sore, I want to stay on that sore spot. I'm going to give your bottom a squeeze. We're going to lift up off it. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. 5 seconds. And then breathe out and try and relax that right the way down. Okay. Now, once you feel like you can take your weight on that and it's all right, then we'll move on and find somewhere else. So again, there's a nasty spot. I know there's a nasty spot there for me. So again, it's another squeeze, holding it for 5 seconds. And then relaxing it down. And what we're doing here is basically trying to soften up the muscles around your bottom. So all those gluteal muscles, but they do have a direct effect on what your back is doing. So there were several years ago where I injured myself doing deadlifts. I was going heavy and I can't remember what exactly happened, but I lost concentration as I was coming back down and I was trying to control the weight back down, but I lost my sort of core strength. I wasn't holding myself properly and I tweaked my back. And basically everything around my back, but also, which I didn't realize at the time, glutes had really tightened up and was causing me a lot of grief for a long time. And I went to the chiropractor and he put me all back together again and said that muscles here are really, really stiff. You need to keep on top of that. And so that's what I've done ever since. So that really does make a big difference in terms of how my back feels. Like if it gets compressed and everything, then it starts to get sore. This really helps to ease it off and stay away. So that's 2 minutes on that side. So now I want us to swap over. Okay. So again, we'll hit the 2 minute timer. Off we go. And then we're going the other way. So again, now I've got it under my left side this time. So my left leg is flat, right leg is bent. And you may find that one side is worse than the other here. Even if you don't have lower back pain or anything, this can be really good just for getting you loosened off there for things like walking or cycling, running, anything like that. This is a great exercise to free up some of those really hard working muscles. Works well in conjunction with figure 4 stretches, if you ever do those, like in Pilates and things, or some of my other videos. Actually, go check out some of my other videos. Have a look back through some of my earlier ones. Again, it's all well and good doing things like this to try and soften up, but also you need to make use of that newfound territory. When you're loosening off a lot of this, we need to try and then stretch out and get using some of it, because otherwise it might end up going back to what it was doing. But for myself, particularly, I tend to be consistent in doing this most days, so it doesn't really get the chance to get super duper tight anymore. I mean, the first time I was doing this, like, whew, it was a bit of a tearjerker, I tell you. It was, it's like watching a, really soppy like rom-com or something like that, just tears like, oh, yeah, it's my allergies. Oh, yeah. Same sort of thing with this. It was, yeah, tough. But it does start to ease off quite quickly, and again, it just takes the pressure off of your back, stops it being compressed and sort of stuck down. So we're going to just keep going just that little bit longer on this side. And like I say, one side might be a bit worse than the other. Don't be afraid to sort of go out to the outside edge as well, as you've got sort of glute med and glute min out there that might get a bit sore. So, you can really rummage around and see wherever you do find being particularly stiff. So we'll keep going there. Well, actually, no, they just hit the 2 minutes on that. So we've done that one now for there. So that's sorted. So now what we're going to go into is we're actually going to work on lower back specifically itself, and what's called your quadratus lumborum, your QL, which basically runs from the base of your rib cage right here, down the side of the spine there, down to the top of the pelvis. And we're going to basically pop the ball there and work down in a straight line just off of the edge of the spine and soften those bits of muscle up there. Because again, if that gets really, really tight, it sort of acts as like a vice, and these really can generate a lot of lower back pain. So we're going to try and get rid of some of that for you as well. So this one, we're going to lie down onto your back, okay? Knees are bent. We're just coming over to one side a little bit so that we can pop the ball underneath the base of your rib cage, all right? And we're going to be lying back down on top of it. Now with this particular one, like I say, we're not pressing directly on the spine itself. And with any of them, actually, we're not pressing down on the spine itself. We're on the muscle on the outside of it, okay? So again, we're going to go for 2 minutes on this one. But the idea is that it might feel a bit sore where it is, and we just want to take some big, deep breaths onto it and try and relax. Now, if you get to the point where it feels quite comfy and quite easy, then all I'm going to get to do is just slide up just a little bit, maybe a centimetre or an inch or so, just up the floor there, just so that the ball goes that little bit lower down into your back. And we're going to gradually work our way down in that straight line. And that's the idea, is just to soften some of this up. If you ever feel like you need more pressure there and you want to get a bit more into it, you can take the leg on the same side. So the ball's on my right side, and also I've now crossed my right leg over the top of the left one. That will then pull it onto tension a bit more, and you can also lean into it as well and get a little bit more. But again, we're not looking to actually annihilate your back. We just want to try and let it ease off and relax. So it's just a case of breathing and trying to ease it up. And we're just going to keep working our way down, all right? Because the breathing really helps to relax the muscles off, okay? So again, just take it nice and steady, deep breaths. And just keep going nice and gently down and through. If you get to the bony part of your pelvis at the bottom, that's it, we're done. We don't need to go any further than that, all right? So we can just keep easing your way down, work on any particularly sore or tight spots, and that's a nice way of just freeing up everything with that QL there. Move this last bit by hand, it's getting caught in my t-shirt, so don't let it get caught in whatever you're wearing there and start to strangle. You want to have minimal strangulations, and again, just ease carefully into it. And then once we've got to that point, we can then relax it gently off. Now again, that's the 2 minutes on that side, so we can ease that one up, and then we'll swap over sides, okay? So again, just underneath the base of the rib cage there, off of the side of the spine there, so you're into the muscular part of the back. And again, let's sink down onto it. Again, I'm doing it with my leg crossed over again, so again, it's on my left side, so it's my left leg that comes over. Yeah, I'm doing it with my leg crossed over, just because it gives me that bit of pressure that I need in order to soften all of this up. Okay, so again, finding anywhere that feels particularly stiff and sore. This side is worse for me. This is the side that really got tweaked when I did those deadlifts. And again, it goes to show though, you've got to be, very careful with when you're training, you lose concentration, especially if you're lifting heavy, you've got to be very, very careful, because anything like that can really, do you a mischief for a long time. With me though, unfortunately, that was how I injured it in the first place. But then when I was moving house, I was getting some stuff out of our loft, and I tweaked my back again there. So, it's something that you just have to be kind of mindful of, and we can do the best we possibly can to try and keep moving properly. And it's always little awkward movements that injure it, that's the annoying thing. It's like picking up your children off of the floor, or, grabbing the washing out of the washing machine, or something, stupid or innocuous like that, that's just, you don't really think about. And that's the problem, is when we don't think about it, that's when you end up with problems. So again, just go nice and carefully, easing our way slowly down. And again, shouldn't have any kind of electric pains. It's more a case of just feeling like the pressure of the ball is there. And then as you breathe on it and just let it relax, that's when it just eases up and lets you in somewhat, and lets you stretch out. So we'll be coming up on time in a minute for the 2 minutes on this side. But again, this side is that little bit worse. All right. So we've done that. Now, just before we go into the next one, the last one there, what I like to do after this is just do a few side twists. So arms out to the sides, palms face up towards the ceiling, keeping the shoulders down on the ground. Just go for a few twists either side to just stretch out. So again, we breathe out as we come across. Deep breath in at the side, breathe out as we come across, okay? Just quite a nice way to get a bit of movement in there and loosen all of that off. Then, once we've done that, the last one that I like to do is for hip flexors, which are on the front of the leg here, and they help flex your leg up like that. But if we're sat down a lot, again throughout the day, these get very, very stiff, and they pull your pelvis forwards into an anterior pelvic tilt, overarching your lower back, causing lower back pain. So what we're going to do is lie down on top of the ball and use that to stretch these out, okay? So we've got hip bone at the front here, just at the top. Just underneath that is where the ball is going to go. Okay, so in the crease of the hip at the top. So we're going to place the ball at the top like so. Again, 2 minutes on the clock. Here we go. Now, again, you can rest carefully down, and we can go side to side on this and just see if there's anywhere through the top of the thigh there that feels particularly stiff and sore. Now, I did quite a lot of driving this morning, so I'm feeling a bit stiff here. So what we then do, when we find somewhere that is a bit tender and a bit sore, we're going to try and keep the pressure on it, but then just bend at the knee and pull the foot up towards your bottom. So you're basically sort of tacking the muscle down with the ball there and the pressure of it, and then you're pulling the leg up to stretch it out a bit. Once it feels like it eases off, then we can start maneuvering around again and work our way around. So we can come a bit more towards the outside edge of the leg there. That works quite well. You can get a bit of movement on the go with that one too. But, don't be afraid to kind of, hunt around a bit. Go on the inside edge of the leg, outside of it, middle part, wherever you feel like you might be getting a bit tight, let's keep going with it. Now, we're gradually sliding up the floor. When we find like there's no real nasty spots on a particular strip of the leg there, then we can move up a little bit so the ball goes lower down into your thigh. Because again, as it starts to join into your quadriceps, which is the big muscle in the front of your thighs there, they can also be quite stiff, still, aggravating your back. So it's good to work our way gradually down. For me personally, I tend to just focus on the hip flexors. That's where I tend to get the worst problems. But I do a lot of stretches for the front of my thighs as well. If anything, I'd probably do way more stretches for the front of my legs than I do the back. Because if you're particularly stiff at the front and your back is being overarched, and then you're stretching, say, your hamstrings at the back of your legs, they actually might be helping keeping, your pelvis back a little bit. So if you're then stretching them, that can actually give a bit more power to the muscles that are pulling you forwards and causing you the issues in your back. So just be aware of that and just stretch out across the front a little bit more, especially if you do have back pain. All right, so I've done that side. Let's go to the other side. Last 2 minutes, then we're done. All right, so again, timer's on. Now, again, what we're looking at is just pulling up. Now, this side, particularly for me, now this is an old streetboarding injury for me here, where I've torn my adductor on this side, where I got my back foot caught on the top of a ramp once, and my lead leg, which is my right leg, I'm goofy-footed, went down the ramp, and it felt like it sort of almost pulled my leg out of the socket almost. It didn't completely, but it felt like it sort of pulled it out. And then later I sort of carried on. I thought, well, that felt a bit weird, but I carried on. And then later on, I went and did a big sort of air on a mini ramp. And when I landed on the floor, all of a sudden, like just pum, I couldn't walk all of a sudden. Like it just felt like the muscle just went twang and snap, and that was it. And I had to be driven home and things. And I was out of it for a few days. I couldn't really do anything, couldn't really walk properly. So I think there I ended up with quite a nasty kind of tear. It wasn't a complete tear, but at the same time, there's a lot of scar tissue that's kind of built up around here. So this side feels completely different for me. And that's why, again, it's important to be able to keep loosening it off and working on it. So yeah, it's just a case of pulling that leg up and just stretching it all out. Takes the pressure off of the back, gets the muscle working properly, and yeah, makes it feel a lot better. And again, it'd be interesting to hear your feedback on this, especially if you do suffer with lower back pain and you do any of these and you sort of think, oh, actually, you know, that does make a bit of a difference. You know, it'd be great to hear what your experience of it as well is. As with any of the videos that I do, if you ever have any experiences, you know, positive about it or even negative, just so, you know, I'd love to hear some constructive feedback. If there's anything you feel like, you know, you want to, yeah, if there's anything that I could do to make the videos better or anything, you know, just let me know. I'm all ears. So that there is really the routine that I tend to utilise and do some of those. But again, there might be days where I'm doing different things and I will, you know, do different mobilisations with the ball. Maybe we'll do some more of those in the future. So hopefully those will help you out. Because again, I know a lot of you do suffer with lower back pain. So let me know. Tell me in the comments, you know, tell me when you see me in person, you know, just let me know how it's all going. So enjoy that. Have fun this week. Excuse me, I know, bad manners. Yeah, have fun this week and hopefully see you next time. See you at class. Give us a like on the old interweb and yeah, see you soon, folks.